The name of my group that I put together is Taking Stock. My name's Jackson Stock, and actually the name comes from my dad, the Abalone Stomper leader, Jake Stock and the Abalone Stompers. And I sort of, rather than taking his name, which was a wonderful name for the time it was, I decided I would make my own up. So Taking Stock seemed appropriate. So that's the name of the group, and we play early classical jazz music here at the festival. To give you an idea of some of the composers, of course, early Duke Ellington, U.B. Blake, Fats Waller, there are many, many composers. That sort of delineates, having given the author's name, the type of music you're going to hear. And I think, like a lot of bands that do this kind of, that play this kind of music, many of them look for the authenticity of the style and actually capturing what's meant for the moment in the musical terms. So we've done that with a lot of the Pieces of Music tour, to establish that integrity, I think, of the authenticity of the music. And as I say, we play many different styles. Here this weekend at the Monterey Dixieland, the Jazz Bash, we have numbers of different styles of music, one of which I've arranged, most of the music I've arranged for this instrumentation, which is 3 instruments, 3 horns, and 3 rhythm. And all this is brand new. I was asked about 3 months ago by Peter Haas, the festival director, to put a band together. So I did that. I found what I could find locally and imported a fellow out of LA, Corey Jim, a wonderful cornet player. And we rehearsed a few times, and we have had a string of jobs here during the weekend of the Monterey Jazz Bash. I would specify the quality, the type of music as being really jazz. Of course, the Monterey Festival here has been, this is the 30th year, we are celebrating the 30th year here in Monterey for this type of music. It's been a wonderful outpour and an opportunity not only for the younger bands, but for a number of bands. They list in their program the different bands, the many, many bands that have performed here over the years. They, as I say, 30 years have been proving that music of this type, there's a following of. There's certainly a lot of interest in it, and the bands that perform here are magnificent in that each one has its distinct, different sound that represents that quality. And again, this is a classical jazz concert material. There are some other types of music, of course, that are used, in conjunction with it, but primarily it started out as a classic jazz festival. The support that you get from your peers when you're young musicians starting off is really, really helpful. And I would say to the younger students, any opportunity you can get to play, regardless of who it is. You and your buddy, a duet at home, a band that you ask to sit in, to have the bravery, the courage to ask, hey, I know that song, I know that what you're playing, can I sit in with you? I think we all are challenged with that opportunity to see that we can fit in, we want to do it, and it helps to provide us with an incentive, a confidence to ask, to have the courage to ask is an important aspect to developing as a musician. And we all have to go through it. I would say remind them it's just not this individual, that we all have to establish ourselves with confidence as a musician, and that's part of our growing up as a musician. But there's I see a lot of potential, a lot of incentive locally for the musicians, and particularly the education system in Monterey is magnificent. And on Pacific Grove they have a great teacher over there. I was fortunate when I came through the Monterey school system to have a wonderful, wonderful high school music teacher. Although we didn't have a jazz band, he did provide for us a wonderful establishment for music in general, some wonderful opportunity to play ensembles. That's another thing with a lot of these musicians, that to get the exposure is one thing, but to have the opportunity to play in ensembles, to know what it feels like to play a section part or a lead part, and how you're distinguished in certain sections. It's really important to have the experience that way, because we all grow from that. This festival has provided many, many opportunities, not only for musicians to play, and the exposure that it gives us in terms of the public, but also in terms of each other, to gauge what band is doing. And actually, as a musician, I find many of us are as listeners, we've developed this trait of listening all the time to music, that the influences we get greatly from these festivals by listening to other groups helps as musicians and people in charge of putting the music together. It's very helpful.